911 also. The more people who can respond and assist these people, the better. If they need to be arrested, so be it. And then, notice, she gets threatened. She calls 911. She gets a special police intel unit to protect her, which is fine. You don't want our elected officials threatened. Well, do as I say, not as I do. And then across the street from her headquarters on 31st, back in August, two guys on a motorcycle, all clad with masks and black, came out with guns, and people were sitting there in their bistro having their coffee and their croissants, and they basically robbed them of all their valuables right out there in the street, you know, on camera, boldly, brazenly. And Tiffany Caban wasn't at her headquarters, but her workers were there. They never called the police. It's like, come on. Common sense says, unless you're willing to go out there and deal with them, which I wouldn't suggest, they had guns, and they were threatening the patrons of that establishment, she should have called the police, just like she called the police when she was being threatened with phone calls, which was the appropriate thing to do, because they have a special unit that deals with that. Any other questions?
It's not about funding, but how would you go about trying to solve the crimes that policemen do, or crimes in general? It's not about defunding them. How would you go about solving that?
Well, the biggest problem you have now...
Ray Lewis. How would you handle that in criminal law? What Ray Lewis did. How would you handle that in criminal law? I'll give you this one. 3 buttons are put down. 1 mile later you find 2 shoes, and 3 miles later you find $3. Who does those kind of crimes?
Your biggest problem...
in New York?
No, these are theoretical criminal. These are real criminal cases. This is theoretical criminology.
Your biggest problem right now in New York is you only have 34,000 cops, and you're losing police every day like we're losing citizens.
What happened to Derek Chauvin during the time when George Floyd died? What would you think the mindset of Chauvin was? George, what's his name? George Floyd.
George Floyd. Right.
What happened to what's his name? Pantaleo, when he killed that brother Eric Gardner? What was the whole deal with that?
Well, that was unnecessary.
That's good, but that's not enough. That's not enough. It's not enough. Believe me, that's not enough. It's a good try, Mr. Sliwa. You're not too bad at what you do, but that's not enough.
Hey, we have a legitimate disagreement.
You have to have an understanding that the NYPD...
I do have an understanding.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
The New York City Police Department has civilians that work within the department. You can always call and ask them what are their thoughts about what your questions are, because on a professional level, I've only gone to the Civilians Police Academy. My 2 daughters are police officers. So I'm not going to go ahead and ask someone that hasn't gone through the training to find out what is the best solution.
If they can't even answer it, then what good is this?
But you'll be amazed. If you speak to the right person,
I know
you might go ahead.
I know the person.
Right.
But they can't, many of them can't even answer that question or the questions. It takes something more than that. You have to find, even if you had to outsource these kind of people, you have to pay them to do that kind of work. Because who's to say they are the all be all know all? No. But there's people out here who have those qualifications. And would you outsource them and pay these people? That's the thing.
We need better training. We need better training in that, but you got to remember something.
Training.
No,
you can have all the training in the world.
Listen, in every situation, you have a uniqueness to the situation. You have to admit that. Not every 2 situations, especially dealing in a situation like that, are the same.
But they can't even answer.
And that goes to better training. Now listen, we're not going to get perfection. We are human beings. We are flawed. If you are expecting perfection from human beings, yes, well, you're looking for perfection.
It's not about
now the thing is this: if we have better training, and we do outsource at some points, and
are you going to pay the outsource?
You have to pay.
How much would you pay them?
Now you're getting into budgetary things.
Okay, because
no. You see, you're going You have to look at everything else. You take the budget. You look at what you have, then you got to break it down. I can't just say to you,
how am I a professional person? Because now we're dealing with professionalism.
Define a professional person.
Why? I can answer all those questions right there.
Okay,
everything I can answer.
What I want you to do for me, I want you to define what a professional person is.
Go ahead.
Define the professional person. Give me the title, and what the professional person is, and what they do.
You just heard it right now.
No. I want to hear it. No, I want to hear it from you.
You just heard it right now.
No, I'm asking you a
You just
question.
heard it right
No,
now.
I didn't hear it.
You don't have the answer for that.
I do have an answer.
You didn't answer anything is what you couldn't answer.
If you define something for me.
Listen, I got people on the floor. They can't even answer that.
What I asked you simply is this. It's a very simple question.
I gave it to you.
No, you didn't answer the question.
You didn't
Respectfully, you did not.
I can
And if you-
answer
if
it.
you
I can
ask-
give you the
All right,
answer.
if you ask anybody here,
I
you
can
didn't
give you the answer to
Well,
all of it.
All right, so answer the first question.
Who?
Define what a professional person is.
That's professional work right there.
I'm waiting for an answer.
That's professional work right there.
Where?
What I just gave you. I gave you all those questions. That's a question. A question is being
I really appreciate what you're saying. I do understand the context of what you're saying. I really
a
do.
professional person.
I understand the
That's right. A
context. And the thing
professional
is
person
this.
has know-how.
What-
It has knowledge.
Okay, that's a start.
Here.
It's all right. So you hire people that are qualified. That's the first thing. You determine the criteria for qualifications, and then you have a hierarchy of needs within that domain. That's a simple plan of action, and that's how it works. No matter what you're looking at. You want to look at mental health? You have a hierarchy. And you have a professionalism, and you have degrees of education, degrees of expertise, and areas of expertise.
Degrees of
Now-
education.
now
What are you
that-
talking about? Going into that school,
Yeah.
what you call higher education? Well, I just went above higher education is what I just gave you right now.
Well, you have higher education
That's
and
right,
you have
higher
real
education.
higher
That means you're smarter than me
No, there's
when
a
you couldn't even answer the question.
We'll get,
But anyway,
you have a good day, sir. I just debated you.
I appreciate it, and I enjoyed it.
Take care.
Does anyone else have a question?
We missed the whole point.
Does anyone else have a question? Michael, do you have a question? And we have a young lady. Any questions?
No, you.
Jennings' daughter? No? Okay.
We could probably get something.
So I have a question.
Ethan has a question.
I have a question. What is the litmus thesis moment of running, and what is the objective based on what happened from the current council member, and how are you going to alleviate that? Because I believe the voters really need to know what damage was done.
What litmus test are you talking about? Because let's be more specific.
In terms of deference
All right,
and
well, okay.
protecting a community.
Well, the bottom line is this. I would say this, thanks to, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I would say this. In this particular circumstance, thanks to Michelle and thanks to myself, the community got to know what deference was. Because a lot of people didn't even know that the term existed. The narrative that was put out was that my no vote is enough. And a lot